Hello everyone, and welcome to Research Basics with the OSU-Tulsa Library. This workshop aims to provide fundamental skills that will help you build a foundation for all your future research needs. Whether you are an undergraduate student needing to find sources for your term paper, or a seasoned researcher building a reference list for your dissertation, library skills are essential to your success. We will talk about the research process, look at mapping as a method for creating research topics and questions, and we'll discover and develop strategies for building an effective search. We will then explore the new library catalog and library databases, and then do some example searches. And then we will leave time at the end for questions. Okay, so let's look at the research process. What do we mean by research? In this context, we are talking about research as the process of searching for information on a particular subject using print and online library resources. The whole process starts with an idea. This idea is then explored in depth and expanded upon and refined and clarified and so forth. Much of the time, this process is laid out in a linear fashion. So what we have here is a very conventional step-by-step linear process for starting your research. Select your topic, begin exploring your topic at a broad level, refine and narrow your topic to your focus, develop your research question if applicable, search for sources that relate to your topic or your research question, evaluate the sources for expertise, credibility, and so on. Integrate the sources into your paper or larger academic work, and then cite your sources and possibly become a source for others to cite in the future. This 7-step process you see here is a pretty typical model, although you may sometimes see different phrasing, terminology, or alternative steps depending on your area of study. When you're just starting your research, it can be helpful to have a step-by-step approach like this. Explore, refine, search, evaluate, write, cite, etc. Seems pretty simple, right? But more often than not, many of these steps need to be repeated or altered to fit your topic or your method. And sometimes this sort of linear approach doesn't necessarily yield all the answers you need. So it is helpful to start with these steps, but keep in mind that the process is iterative and will not always look the same way every time you write a paper or start a new research project. The research process can often be more like a cycle with repeated elements, or like a winding path with many entry points. And sometimes pieces can seem unlimited and never-ending, or alternatively, it may feel at times like you have hit a dead end. It's important for you to know that this is a normal part of research. It's good to keep an open mind and try to enjoy the process for what it is, complex and iterative. We often say that research is a conversation, one that you are contributing to with your work, as well as listening to as you search, read, cite, and reflect. Okay, let's talk about mapping. Mapping can be a useful tool for both beginners and advanced researchers. This can sometimes be called concept mapping or topic mapping or diagramming or something similar, but in any case, the idea is to create a space for you to brainstorm your topic and create a map. Concept mapping can help with many parts of the research process, including choosing a topic area, narrowing or broadening your topic area, finding the synonyms and keywords to help with your searching, and formulating your research question. Quick side note on choosing a topic. Once you have selected a topic, it might be a good idea to run through this quick checklist before starting your mapping and searching. Ask yourself, am I even interested in this topic? If the answer is no, you're probably in for a long and arduous research journey. If you have any say in the topic selection at all, it would be best to select something that suits your interests. And then, does the topic fit my assignment guidelines? Can I find information on this topic? Is that information available in the types of sources I need to use? Can I effectively search this topic by the deadline? These are important questions to consider when getting started. It's totally fine for your topic to evolve as you begin searching. However, it's good to have a general idea when you're just getting started. And then one more quick side note. What do I mean by types of sources? We'll get into this more when we do some example searches, but it's important for you to know that there are many different kinds of information sources out there. Typically, these are categorized as primary, secondary, and sometimes tertiary sources. It can be in a lot of different formats, from journals to books to magazines, websites, and even social media posts. We're not going to cover the different kinds of sources in too much depth today, but just know that there are many sources available to you in the library and also just across the internet. Not every source will be the same, and information is not always published on the same timeline. Keep this in mind later when we start looking at search examples. At this point, you can begin mapping and gathering background information on your topic. If you are unfamiliar with your topic starting out, You might look at an encyclopedia or a database research starter for an overview, and then use that to help you start your map. There are many different ways to go about creating a concept map. In this example, the researcher starts with the main topic and branches out to related ideas and questions, and then to sub-ideas and sub-questions. To avoid confusion and to help streamline your process, you might try sectioning off your map and adding questions relating to population, geographic location, culture, and events. You might also label and organize things with the tried and true who, what, when, where, why, and how. From there, you can continue branching off into related ideas, or you might find that you want to focus on one specific branch as your research area. You can do this on paper, or you can use an online mapping tool to help. What's important is that you find a way to organize your thoughts that works for you. Another method is to write down the research question or topic area, and then write down the main related concepts. Then take those concepts and write down different synonyms for those concepts. The idea is that these words become keywords, phrases, and subject terms that you will be using in your search. These words will come together to form search strings that you will use when you go to look for information sources. We'll look at examples of this in a little bit. These questions here become important when you start searching for literature on your topic. What keywords did you discover? How did they fit together in a search string? Was the search effective when you tried it? What new keywords have emerged from there? Writing down terms and answers to these questions on a piece of paper or in an online document space is another way to effectively map and plan your research. When you finish mapping and exploring, you may very well have a research question, or at the very least, you'll have an idea of what you want to know. These questions in this checklist are similar to the topic checklist we looked at earlier. It's good to revisit these and make sure you're on track with your research goal, whether that's an assignment or a bigger project. Ask yourself, is my question too broad or too narrow? Can I find enough information to answer this question? Can I find the types of sources I need? Am I meeting the assignment requirements and the deadline, if applicable? And then, is my question clear, concise, and focused? Strong research questions cannot be answered with a simple yes or no, but require critical thought and a clear aim. If you're not sure about your topic or your research question, it's always a good idea to schedule a check-in with your instructor. So at this point, we're going to get into developing search strategy, and then we'll start exploring the catalog and databases and look at examples. This is just a short example of a research question and argument. The original question the researcher asked was, how does social media affect friendships? Then they narrowed and refined the question to, how does social media use affect in-person communication among teenagers in the United States? Maybe they decided they wanted to look at in-person communication as one aspect of a relationship dynamic, and then they narrowed down their topic to just look at American teens. Then they started identifying keywords they would need to try. Social media, communication, text, screens or screen time, teenagers, teens, adolescents, America, United States, effects or impacts, and even maybe specific social media outlets to see if there were any surveys or data collected about specific entities. And then they start creating an argument for their paper. They write, research shows that social media usage has some kind of impact on how teenagers communicate in person, which could lead to insert more argument here. So this is a good start. This person will need to search the literature to see what the research says so they can cite their sources and potentially back their argument claims. To do this, they will need to build an effective search strategy. So how do we build an effective search? Remember that map you made with all of your keywords and your concepts? You'll want to use that map to help you create search strings and phrases to type into the library catalog and databases to find relevant sources. So we have our topic or question, our key concepts, and related keywords. When we look at examples, we'll use Boolean operators, quotations, and parentheses to combine words and build our search. It will be necessary to try different searches until you get the results you're looking for. So if I were to take the question we looked at and create a search, it might go something like this. I have my question, how does social media use affect in-person communication among teenagers in the US? I might just start with pulling these main terms from the question itself and linking them together, which is what I do in this first potential search here. Social media use and in-person communication and teenagers and United States. I might also try the second example, which has teen and the beginning of the word adolescence with an asterisk. The asterisk acts as a wildcard and will pull in multiple endings of the word. So it'll search for teen, teens, teenagers, and then adolescent, adolescence, or adolescents. And then I will probably try my search several different ways and see what comes up in the results list. In this example, I made note of several other keywords and subjects that came up while searching, such as cyberbullying, social belonging, social integration, isolation, etc. Face-to-face communication came up when I searched for in-person communication. So you really want to learn what the language is that the database is using so that you can create a better search and get the most relevant information possible whenever you put these searches together. Let's talk really quickly about Boolean operators, and, or, and not. These three words used as a conjunction in your search string are meant to focus your search by narrowing or broadening the search results, ultimately making your search more precise and saving you time. And looks for both terms together in your search, thus narrowing your search by linking these terms together. Or will look for either term, but not necessarily together, which widens your results by bringing up results that have one term or the other or both together. Not restricts your search by looking for one term, but excluding the term that follows it, which is great if your search is yielding a lot of irrelevant results. Think of it like chocolate peanut butter cups. If I want both chocolate and peanut butter, I might go for a Reese's peanut butter cup. If I don't really care either way if there's peanut butter, I might go for a Reese's, or maybe I'll grab M&M's or some other piece of regular chocolate. If I'm allergic to peanut butter, or maybe I just don't feel like it that day, I'm going to leave out the peanut butter cup option altogether. Make sense? So now that you're hungry, let's look at the new library catalog. This is where we're going to start integrating everything we've talked about so far. We'll create search strings and look at examples of various types of library resources that appear in the results list. In order to access the catalog, visit tulsa.okstate.edu/library. So when you navigate to the library homepage, that is tulsa.okstate.edu/library, you're going to get to this screen here. As you can see, we have this linked alert right here that says we have a new catalog. And if you click this little link here, it goes to our how-to guide. So that is available to you if you want to check that out. We are going to start with this big box here. So this box links to our library catalog. You can also click the search button that's available to you here. You can go here for lots of different things. Articles, books, journals, and more is what it says here. This is the best place to go if you want to find books, everything that's in our catalog, both physical items in the library and ebooks that you find that are only available online are going to be housed here in the library catalog. So let's just kind of start with a basic search. I'm going to just search for artificial intelligence. And this is going to bring me to my main search page here. And right away I see a lot of different things. I have a lot happening. So over here on the left side of the page, I have this refined results area. And this is where I have a lot of different limiters and facets where I can kind of narrow down my search. Up here you'll notice you have an option to do a basic search or a more advanced search. This is just a basic search where we're looking for one kind of keyword. Remember earlier when we talked about keywords and all of that. Before I get into this middle section here, I want to show you what's up at the top here. So you have your folder with your preferences and all of these different links up here. This sign-in option is really important. This is how you access your library account. So if you want to sign in and see how many books you have checked out and see what you have in your account, you can do that through this sign-in button, and it's going to require that you sign in with your OKey information. This folder is available to you if you want to kind of save some of these items. So some of these items over here have folders next to them, and you can add them to your folder. If you're signed in, it will save the items in the folder for you so you can come back to them later. And that's available for articles and books and anything that appears in your search list. On this top left side of the page, you have New Search, Library Home, Databases, Publications. And so if I click this, it takes me back to the basic search page, and then I can start an entirely new search. So again, I'm looking for artificial intelligence here, and this will do a whole new search for you. Sometimes it's nice to just start over, and that is available to you if you need it. This takes you back to the library homepage. This databases button we can talk about later. This takes you to the library databases, which we will explore in more depth later. And then this link goes to publications, and this is a good place to go if you want to look for a specific journal publication. So we have our keyword artificial intelligence search here. Notice right away we have a lot of search results. Let's take a closer look at this middle section here, and I'll kind of show you what exists here, and then we will talk about kind of how to limit things down to books and articles and more. So in this middle section, you have all of your search results here. You can sort by relevance, you can sort by newest or oldest. We have these 3 boxes up at the top here. What does this mean? So this box here says course reserves. This means that we have this specific title, Artificial Intelligence, on reserve for this class. So we have this class, it says Tulsa Spring 2024, and it has this book available on course reserve. So sometimes these boxes will appear at the top above your search results list with information for you. This, looking for this publication box, a lot of times you can ignore this. This is a specific publication that it thinks you might want. It just kind of depends. This could be helpful if you're looking for a very specific title of a book on occasion. And then this research starter here, this is a really nice way to get started if you kind of are unfamiliar with your topic and you want to explore it in more depth. We kind of talked about this when we talked about mapping. I think I mentioned the database research starter. This, if you click on this here, this research starter, it's going to bring you to kind of an encyclopedia page. This has the topic, and it has the summary of kind of what artificial intelligence is, with a definition and some background history, how it works, and all of that, kind of, where we've gone from there. And this can be a really nice place to start to get kind of an overview of your topic. But this isn't necessarily a source that you would cite, not at the undergrad or graduate level. So I'm going to click this back button and go back here to the results list. Okay. And if you keep scrolling down past your course reserves box, past the publication box, and past the research starter, you start getting into the results list. Right away, I can see I have quite a few ebooks here. On the left side of the page here, we have a lot of different options for refining results. So maybe I want books. Again, lots of options over here. If I want to look for books, I'm going to go to limit by source type here. And see, again, earlier we talked about sources and different types of sources and how many there are. Look at all of this. We have academic journals, we have conference materials, books, news, magazines, ebooks, all of that. So I want to look for books and ebooks because that's kind of where I want to go at this point in my research. So I'm going to update that. And then we just went from like 3 million results to 600,000. So obviously we still have a lot of results. There are a lot of new ebooks coming out about artificial intelligence. Okay. And then from there, if I wanted to refine it some more, I could go to physical items in the library. Maybe I just want print books. Maybe I just want to look for books that the library has on artificial intelligence. So if I click this physical items in the library collection, this is going to give me what physical books the library has. So this makes a lot more sense. This is a much more doable number. I have 140 physical books that I can go look for in the library. And this gives me a couple different things. So these first 2 results here, this one has a location of reserves, gives me the call number where I can find it, and then it shows me that the status is available. So this book is actually on reserve at the library. And this next book says circulating books. This is telling me that this is going to be in the main book stack collection. So these are in different locations in the library, but they are both in the library. This one is available to place a request for. So if you want to put a book on hold, you can click this place request button and we will be able to grab the book for you and put it on hold for you at the desk, which is great. This little text call number feature is great as well. If you are visiting the library and you want this call number, but you don't want to write it down, you can have it text you. You can text your phone and it'll say, hey, this book is available here and here's the call number. And then you can go pick it up, which is really nice. And as you can see, we have quite a few books available in the library on artificial intelligence. But maybe I want articles. If I want articles, I'm going to do a few different things. Let me do a new search. And maybe I want artificial intelligence. But maybe I also want to look at artificial intelligence in a more specific sense. So underneath this search box here, notice that these popular terms pop up. These are things that other people have tried or other people have searched for that are popular. This can be really helpful. And then you have some publications down here. These are popular publications that pop up down here at the bottom as well. I want to look for artificial intelligence. Maybe I want to look at ethics. So I'm going to do artificial intelligence and ethics. And again, I can see people have searched for morality, ethics and bias, ethics and research. And this gives me some interesting things to think about. So I'm going to click search. And right away, I have a lot less results than my first search. Earlier, I had like 3 million results, and now I have 242,000 results. This is still a lot of results to look through, and I will still need to kind of narrow things down. It does still have this research starter up here, which is great. So if someone, again, isn't familiar with AI, they can go and kind of look into that and see what the encyclopedia has to say about it. And, right away, I have some journals and reports and things that come up. So maybe I want to narrow this down to peer-reviewed articles. There are a couple different ways to do this over here on the search list. I'm going to click on this peer-reviewed journals under limit 2, and this is going to limit my search. It took away about 100,000 results. So everything here that comes up under this list will be peer-reviewed. And one thing to note is that we use our Boolean operator here, and so we have artificial intelligence and ethics. And seeing that artificial intelligence and ethics are both subjects here tells me that these are words that the database knows to use when it's looking for these different topics. So a lot of times when you're doing your searches, it's about speaking the language of the database you're in. This one says artificial intelligence and also has parentheses AI. And sometimes you can search for both. If I were to search for both, that might expand my search a little bit. So maybe I'm going through my search here, and I want to see which one of these might be useful for my paper. So when I'm going through my list here, I kind of want to see what's interesting to me. So this one says student perceptions of ChatGPT used in a college essay assignment. That's interesting. Maybe I want to write my paper on ChatGPT and AI use and college students. Okay, so I'm going to look at this and see if this is something that I might want to use in my paper. When I click this, I get to the detailed record. So I can look here, and it will give me a lot of information about this article. So I have the title, and then I can see the authors here. I can even click and see what else they have done. I can see the source, the journal that it came from. I can even go to that journal and kind of browse it some more if I'd like. And then if I scroll down a little bit, I can see that this is intended for a higher education, post-secondary education level. Okay, so that tells me this is the level I need. And then I can look at the subject terms to see what this is about. And this is important when you're starting your research because you can look and see what related terms might I want to use. So again, going back to the keyword mapping, maybe I want to look for AI and ethics, but maybe I also want to look at student attitudes or cheating, or maybe I want to look at writing processes. So these are things to consider when you're going to look at articles. And then I can read the abstract here and see if this is something that I want to use in my paper. Also on this page, this tools bar is really important. So if you look at the tools bar here, you can see you can save this article in a number of different ways. You can put it in your cloud drive, your Google or your OneDrive. You can add it to your folder and save it for later, as long as you are signed in. You can export it and look at it later. You might use something like Zotero, which we'll talk about another time. This little permalink button with a little chain link here will give you the permalink, and the permalink is available to you if you copy that. And then you can use that link to come back directly to this page later. If you're off campus, it will ask you to sign in. So that's an option. And then to get the full text, a lot of times people will say, I need the full text of this article. And when you click here on linked full text means that it will give you the entire article, not just part of the article and not just the abstract. And so this pulls up the article here in full text. So now I can look at the whole article, the entire thing. I can click here to save it, to download it to my computer, or download it to a drive or somewhere else and save it. I can click print. If you're at the library, you can print for free, and that's really nice. And so there are a lot of different ways to save your article. When you're going through your results list, you might find that there are 5 or 6 or 7 articles that you really like. And if that were the case, I might put them in my little folder and then go back to them later. And then later I might export them to a citation management software or my desktop or somewhere else so that I can save them and look at them. I typically do kind of a run through where I look generally at the title and the abstract, and I'm not going to read every article right away. I'm going to save them for later if they seem like they're relevant, and then later I'm going to go back through and actually read them. So that is kind of a quick overview of the library catalog. Again, you have a lot of different ways to narrow your search here. You have a lot of different options for if you were to add, if you wanted to add additional keywords up here, you have a lot of different options and a lot of different ways to do that. I am going to go back to the home page. I'm going to click Library Home, and that's going to take us back to the home page. If you would like more review on how to use the catalog, visit our how-to guide here on the front page. And this gives you some step-by-step walkthroughs on searching for books and articles, as well as video tutorials. And on the front page here, there is a quick catalog overview video. So check that out if you would like some more review on that. Now we are going to look at the library databases. So starting from the home page, you can get here by accessing this A to Z databases link here, or this databases link that's right underneath the catalog search. And so if we click here, this takes us into our A to Z databases. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out on this A to Z databases page is over here on the right side, we have featured databases. These are the most frequently used databases, and we're actually going to search a little bit in this one here today, Academic Search Premier. This will be a really great place to get started on your research. It has a lot of different subject areas and has coverage that dates back to 1975. So this is a great place to go if you need recent and relevant articles. But before we do that, let me show you this All Subjects drop-down menu here. Okay, so we have 372 total databases. This is a lot of databases. We have a lot of information stored in these databases, from newspapers and other serials to older articles as well as new articles. And so if you look at this All Subjects drop-down menu here, we can narrow this 372 down a little bit. So say you're a psychology student. If you click on psychology and sociology here, you can see that we have selected 39 databases that are going to be specifically helpful to you. So that kind of provides a little bit of help with narrowing things down. This Academic Search Premier is a really big kind of general database that covers a lot of different subject areas. This is a really great place to start your research, especially if you need relevant and recent articles. And it might be a good place to start if you have your topic, but you're not really sure what direction you want to take with it yet. So let's go ahead and go into Academic Search Premier. So when you click the database, you get to this page where you have different options for putting in keywords, and you have your Boolean operators in these nice little boxes up here where you can build your search string. And then down below, you have different ways to limit and filter your results. But you can also do that once you get into the search results screen. So for now, let's just start by typing in an example up top, and then we will do our limits once we get to our search results. So earlier we were looking at artificial intelligence and ethics. Let's do that again. And see, again, we have a lot of options that kind of pop in down here. Things that other people have searched for recently. Artificial intelligence and ethics. And then this has ethics or ethical issues, concerns, or dilemmas as options as well. Those ORs are expanding the search some more. So let's just start with what we have here. So right away then we see we have over 2,365 search results available. And on the side we have all the limiters that we saw before available. We can select peer-reviewed, full text. We can look at a date range. So this gives us a date range of 1994 to 2024. But if we wanted to, we could get more recent articles by changing this here or typing in a new date. So maybe I just want articles from 2020 to 2024, and then would update my search, and that would give me that. So I just went from, how many did I have before? I had 2,365, and I went to, after changing the date here, I now have 1775 in my results list. So we're using these filters on the side here to kind of narrow our results and things that pop up over here on the side. I also want peer-reviewed articles, right? So I want to make sure that these are articles that have been reviewed by people in the field. And okay, so once I click peer-reviewed, that narrows it down even more. So I went from 1775 to 14,000. So we just took out a bunch of review articles and maybe trade articles that were not peer-reviewed literature about AI. So that helps us even more to narrow down our search. And if we go down here, we also have other different ways that we can narrow things down. So we have different subject areas that might come up. We have publications. If you wanted to look at a specific publication, you could do that. AI in Society is a popular AI publication. You could look at language, geography. Maybe I want to look at just the United States. I can narrow it down that way. And this gives me 18 articles specific to the United States as a subject area that have to do with AI and ethics. That might be a little bit too narrow, so I'm going to actually X out of that and go back here. Okay, so for the purpose of what we're doing right now, let's just kind of look at these search results and see what we have here. AI ethics on the road to responsible AI plant science. Okay, that's pretty interesting, but I'm not really wanting to talk about botany in my research, so let's move on a little bit. So at this point, you kind of start reading through your list and seeing what might be relevant for your paper, and if nothing is relevant, that is when you go up to your search bar here and you add terms or take away terms. You can add or something else to try to expand your search. Or you can add, maybe you want to add like teenagers or some kind of like identifier that might be cultural or something like that, so that you can kind of narrow things down a bit more. You have a lot of different options when you're looking at this page. Introduction to ethics, okay, maybe. Okay, this is the ethics of psychological artificial intelligence, clinical considerations. Okay, so maybe I'm in clinical counseling and this looks like it might be interesting to me. Maybe I want to do psychology research. So let's click on this title here. When I click on the title, much like we saw earlier, we come to a detailed records page that gives me a lot of information. So we have the title here, we have the authors, we can see that it comes from this Counseling and Values journal, that is a peer-reviewed journal. We have the different subject terms and then author-supplied keywords that are tied to this article. So again, artificial intelligence, ethics, artificial intelligence and counseling and diversity, that might be something to consider as well. And then you have the abstract here that you can read as well. And then much like you saw earlier, we have this tools bar on the side where you can click on these different tool options to save your article. And again, if you wanted to sign in, you could use the sign in button at the top and then use your folder and put articles in your folder to save for later, but you have to make sure you're signed in. And then you can email, print, save. You can grab this permalink here, and that will bring you back to this exact page later. So you have all these different options for saving the articles. And then again, over here on the left, if you click on full text, this will bring you to the PDF itself, and you can download and save the PDF. You can print it. You can print for free at the library if you'd like to do that. And this is where you could actually go and save and read the article. So maybe I do like this article. Maybe I want to save this for later, so I could do that. And then I can click this and go back to my results list and look at other articles. Some people like to save multiple articles at once. We kind of did this earlier as well. If you click on these blue folders, you can put several articles that look interesting into your folder. And then you can grab those later and make sure you save them someplace where you can take them with you if you don't sign into the database itself. Okay, so that is that. This database actually looks really similar to our catalog because they're owned by EBSCO, they're owned by the same people, and so they kind of have a very similar search interface. But some other databases might look a little bit different. So let's go back to the databases, and I'm actually going to go back to the home page here, and then I'm going to show you how to get back to the databases. So again, this box here takes us to the catalog, and then our databases are here. I'm going to click on A to Z databases. We just looked at Academic Search Premier, and maybe I want to look at another database and kind of see what options it gives me. So I'm going to go to all subjects again because I'm a psychology student, just as an example, and I want to narrow down to psychology databases. I happen to know that APA PsycInfo is an American Psychological Association database that is really helpful, and so I'm going to look at that just a little bit. And again, this is an example. There are lots and lots of databases available to you and lots of different ways to do your research, and your topic area might be very specific. If you need help with your very specific topic area, make a research appointment with us, and we are happy to help you find the right database and the right path for you to do your research. So this is a different database. It looks a little different. The home page, it kind of looks similar because we have these boxes where you can build your search strings, and we have different ways of narrowing things down below. You might notice some of these are different. This database has methodology as an area that you can narrow things down in. The other database did not have that, and so every database is going to be a little bit different in what it offers to you. And again, we have some that are specific to different subject areas. We have some that are just for business, and some that are just for psychology, and some that are just for engineering. So it really just depends on your subject area. I'm going to do this similar search, artificial intelligence, and ethics. And I'm just going to see what we get here. It's probably going to look a little different than our other search results list that we had. Okay, so this is a very psychology-specific database, and it's pretty narrow already, so we get a lot less results than our other database that we looked at. So we were looking at 751 results, and we have a lot of different things going on here. So we have scholarly journals, we have books, we have dissertations and theses. If I click on the source type, I can narrow things down. Right now, I think I want just articles, scholarly articles. I'm going to click there and click apply, and that will get rid of some of these other options that aren't articles. And I can also click this peer-reviewed button and make sure that I'm getting articles that are peer-reviewed, and that's going to narrow it down as well. Pretty close. Okay. And again, if I want to look at a specific date range, I can do that as well. Maybe I want to look at just these last few years here. I can update that, and that's going to narrow our results even more. So we have, as you can see, we have lots of different options for narrowing things down. Maybe I want qualitative studies. So maybe I want to look specifically for a qualitative study having to do with AI. I could look at this methodology here. So this particular database gives us a lot of different options for methodology. And this matters more once you get into the grad and doctoral level. And so if I'm wanting qualitative literature, I can click qualitative study and include that. And that's going to narrow my search down to 36 qualitative studies having to do with AI. And so this one, the emergent role of artificial intelligence, yada yada, in higher education, this looks interesting to me. I might want to use that, but I'm not really sure. Exploring the relationship between ethics and trust in human AI teaming, a mixed methods approach. That might be interesting. So let's just look at this one here. Exploring the relationship. Okay, so this is the title up top, and then it also gives us the abstract, and then some more details again with the subject areas, and it shows you what subjects are associated with the article. It shows you where it's from, it shows you the authors, and all of that, and some really good information below. It also has options over here at the top where you can cite. This is a neat feature. It'll pop up and you can actually click APA 7 and it gives you a citation for it. You want to double check this with your style guide and make sure it's accurate, but it is there and available for you as a quick little tool. You can copy the URL, the permalink there, and you can look at all other options for saving and exporting. Again, you can save it to the cloud, you can export it, you can save it as a PDF, email, print, and so on. So this one is actually a little different because it doesn't lead us directly to the PDF. It has this more options at OSU. So let's look at that. If we click that, then this tells me this is located in another database. And so I'm going to try to find this in another database. If it doesn't appear in another database, that tells me a couple of things. It tells me that we may not have the article, and if we don't have the article, we can request it via interlibrary loan. And so this actually did pull up the whole article in a different database, and so that's nice. Sometimes they link together and kind of talk to each other, so you can find it in a different place if you need it. And then I can download the article and print it from here. I'm going to go back to my search results list here, back to results. And again, if I wanted to save some of these in a folder, I can click these here and they get added to my folder up top, and that is one way that I can save them as well. I mentioned interlibrary loan. Let me go back to the home page really quickly. We have this quick link here, interlibrary loan. And so what this is we can get an article or a book for you from another library if we don't have it. And so often when you're searching through the databases, it'll say, sorry, we don't have this, but we can request it for you. And so that's an option. You can either do it from the article itself if it's showing that we don't have it, or you can come here. You only have to register one time, and then you have an account and you can request things that way. And so if you find that we don't have something that you need, definitely don't go pay for it yourself. Try to request it through us, and we can try to get it for you. So we don't have a whole lot of extra time to keep searching in the databases, but I did want to show you kind of where they were and show you that we have a lot of them, and a lot of them that are very specific to various subject areas, and kind of do a couple of example searches for you. Okay, so at this time we're going to go back to our presentation and we're going to wrap up, and then we will have a Q&A session. Okay, we don't have too much time left, but I do want to talk about a couple of things before we wrap up for the day. Evaluating and citing sources. Evaluating sources is a crucial part of the research process. As we discussed, articles in the library databases marked peer-reviewed are probably safe and reputable sources for you to use for your paper. But what about other articles you come across online? Are they peer-reviewed? Are they reputable? It is important to read your sources and make sure they are worth your time. Even just looking at the abstract and information on the page and just starting with the 5 W's can be helpful. Who wrote it? What was their purpose? Where was the paper published and where did the information come from? When was this article published or last updated? Why might I want to use this resource in my paper? Is there a better resource to use? You want to think about currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. And then there are many other evaluation methods to look at as well, depending on the type of source you need. This method, SIFT, can be really helpful for online sources. Stop, investigate the source, see if you can find better coverage, and then trace claims and quotes in media back to the original context. And we're not going to talk too much about citations today, but they are important to mention. The big 3 are listed here, although there are hundreds available, and how you need to cite your sources will depend on your field of study. Always check your assignment and syllabus for citation instructions. For citation help, you can visit the online style guides, visit the citation guides on the library website, or make a research appointment. What about storing your citations? OSU recommends Zotero for all your citation management needs. Zotero is a free and open source reference management software that assists in collecting, organizing, citing, and sharing research. You can also use it to make quick bibliographies. Visit zotero.org to read more and download the software. Check out our library guide and watch for upcoming Zotero workshops from the library. Today, we covered quite a bit. We covered the research process, we discussed mapping topics and questions, and we looked at how to develop search strategies. We also explored the new library catalog and databases and looked at search examples. If you need research or citation help at any point during the semester, reach out to the library. You can call, text, email, chat with us online, and even make a one-on-one research appointment. The library is here to help you succeed. Thank you for joining us today for the Research Basics Workshop. If you have further questions or want to make an appointment, reach out to Zane at zane.ratcliffe@okstate.edu.